Piko models of this era were made in East Germany, and they can sometimes be a bit temperamental. This one is of an SVT137 three-car diesel unit, and it was produced, I think, around about 1978 to begin with, and it ran through to the late 80s. It's modelled on a revolutionary fast transport DMU which ran between Berlin and major cities in Germany in the 1930s. During the Second World War, those services were postponed, and after the war, they were kind of used a little bit, but technology had moved on a bit and there were other express trains then. However, they did soldier on in the Deutsche Bundesbahn to around about the 1950s, and the Deutsche Reichsbahn until early 1970s. This one we have today is a Deutsche Reichsbahn one, and I think it's actually quite colourful. I've not had this out the box since I bought it, so let's get this out and I'll tell you a bit more about it. Well, I did say these were second hand. I don't think they've been used for some time, and they have scrunched up newspaper packing them in as well. This one actually says December the 28th, 1985, which I think might be the last time that this model was run. So that makes this more than 40 years since it last saw the tracks. It comes with an instruction sheet here. I'm guessing it's some history of the train, but it's all in German, so I don't know what it's saying. However, on the inside we have some other languages here, including English up here, which says to be read and followed carefully before operating. And it's really just giving you some service information about the loco. And on the back we have other languages including Russian here. And down here you can see where it was made in the DDR in Zwickau. And here is the model. It's a three-car set in this fantastic purple and cream colour. We do have a couple of pieces that are broken off here. I'm going to have to try and find out where they came from and put them back on as we go along. But let's have a closer look at these fantastic looking models. So I've now realised that these are actually dummy couplings which fit on the front of these DMUs, and at both ends they've broken off unfortunately. So I think it's another case of the courier just bashing these en route to me. So you can certainly see the interesting shape of these prototypes. They were called the Flying Hamburger in real life, and that's really captured here. It's quite an unusual front to this DMU. And we've got lining around the front here with the black and the white. It's not been done that well. It almost looks as though it's been hand painted though. And some of the masking isn't great between the purple and the cream, but what a fantastic colour scheme it is. We've even got like a silver roof which has been masked off as well, so there is a lot of painting complexity on this model. Got some very clear printing at this point here just below this window, but you can see some of the masking problems at the top here. Got a grille here and the first door here which has got some really nice bracket detail on it actually. And then we've got a door down here which is the main entrance door to this carriage. First class embossed there and picked out in silver with a little, I guess that's a destination board underneath it, and then some more printing as well. And we also have printing down in the black area which you can see as I go down the length of this carriage. Inside there's no interior. We've got very clear glazing, but it's not flush fit. You wouldn't really expect it from something this old, but sometimes you do get flush fit glazing on older models, but not this one. But it is very clear. However, you can see that we have some lighting there. You can see a light bulb. And as we get to this end of the carriage, we've got another number 1 there and some more printing here and also down here on the black area. You will notice we don't have a bogie on this end. That's because it's a shared central bogie on this DMU. But you can see inside that we have this little piece here which is transferring current into this carriage so that we can get the lights working. And we've got this interesting metal coupling arrangement here. And that extends down to the bottom. I'm not quite ssure why that's got a splodge of red paint on it. But this is made of metal here. It's just a piece of pressed steel. It looks like this is still the moulding and it's masked off in dark grey down the bottom here. And we've got some grills and some vents which look okay I suppose. And then looking at the bogies, they're pretty plain. They've got these really slab-sided parts at the top. But they do have some deep relief on it and nice spring details. And the axle boxes aren't too bad. This one has got plastic wheels with metal axles, and we've got an insert there which again is pressed steel with a screw holding it onto the chassis. There's quite a lot of movement on this bogie, so I guess it can not only get round tight corners as you can see here, you can go around 90-degree corners, but you can also stay on rough track too. And there's a little skirt here around the front in dark grey. Looks like we might also have lighting at the front here too. And up on the roof it's all painted in silver. And we do seem to have a really bad moulding mark right in the middle here, but the detail around these little vents is great with a lot of rivet detail as well, but that really lets it down. This is the middle car which has got the 2 central bogies, and you can see that we pick up here with these little copper pieces, and you can see part of the drive shaft there too. So it looks like we have a motor in the middle. I think you can see that here when I move the model to this point, you can see the motor's mounted there, and we've got these very long drive shafts right out to both bogies, so there must be some kind of gearbox on top of here. And these move separately to the carriage, and they move back and forward too. And I've got another piece that's just fallen off. Oh, it looks as though it's maybe been broken off at the side. So this has been through the wars a little bit, unfortunately. But this is a second class centre carriage. There's no doors on this side, but there's a lot of nice printing down here, and the Deutsche Reichsbahn is very clear. And also we have some lighting as well. You can see that in the middle there through the windows. And we've got another bogie here, which also moves back and forward too. So that's quite cool. It can have a fair degree of articulation to help this get round tight corners. So looking on this side of the carriage, this is where we have the doors. We've got one at this end, another second class, which is embossed. And down this end, you can see the part is broken off here. I'm going to have to glue that back on. And another second class. Up on the roof on this one, it's just 4 air vents, and again we've got this really bad moulding mark. That's really disappointing, but aside from that it looks pretty good, and the paint is applied pretty well as well. And this is the final of the 3 cars. Unfortunately, yeah, we've got the coupling broken off again on this one, but this looks pretty much the same as the one we just saw, although it isn't first class, so we don't have the embossed first class, and the window arrangement is slightly different as well. The door here is slightly different too, and you can see a cable inside the windows, so there's obviously lighting on the front of this one, but there's a good amount of printing down here in the white on the black area. And looking around this side, it's a very similar setup. We've got a similar door here and another one here, and again the printing, well, you know, the masking isn't that great again, but we do have that white printing down in the black area and the grey sides at the bottom here. And underneath we have the same pressed metal chassis. This one moves around a little bit as well. It's not the best fitting in the world. And again, we've got the similar kind of little contact here for the lighting inside this one. So it's an absolute crazy looking paint job on this, and it looks absolutely fantastic as well. But it does have some shortcomings, as you'd expect of something this old. But I'm wondering whether it's going to run, so let's at least get the central car onto a piece of test track and just see if it can run back and forward. So it's just a central car we've got here, and as usual it's on some Hornby third radius track, and I'm using my H&M controller on 12 volts DC to give it some power, so let's see what happens. Well, I'm really surprised it actually ran okay. I didn't think it was going to go there to begin with, and I was ready to give it a push, but once we gave it a bit more power and it got used to the idea of moving again, it was fine. So I've coupled it up with one of the end coaches. It's just the metal parts which hook onto one another, and it actually works really well. So let's give this some power and we can check it out as well. Well, I definitely need a bit of a bigger run to actually see this to full effect. Unfortunately, I don't have that much space at the moment, and this little stage is all I've got, but at least it does actually run, and the central bogies seem to work really good on this. It certainly looks absolutely crazy, but let's put this on the scales and we'll see how much it weighs. So the end car weighs 201 grams, and the center car weighs 273 grams. So this Deutsche Reichsbahn SVT137 DMU, well, it's certainly starting to show its age. There's a lot of things which are a little bit crude around the edges on this, and it's definitely a product of its time, but it is absolutely fantastic looking, and it's got that retro kind of look that collectors absolutely love, and I definitely like this setup here. Sure, the masking isn't great, but it does have some really good printing. It's a bit crude around the edges, but some of the things on it, like the central motor with drive out to both axles, is quite incredible, and the way that the articulation works between the carriages is really quite cool. It's a very interesting model. It's not going to be for everyone, but if you're into vintage model railways or you want something very unusual on your layout, then maybe you should consider this. You can get this as a 2-car set, which would be handier for smaller layouts, but I think this 3-car one is the better of the lot because you've got that really interesting central car, plus this colour scheme is just absolutely crazy and it looks really cool. So on the second-hand market, prices vary quite a lot. This one has had a little bit of damage here and there, so it's not really that valuable. You're probably looking about £40 to £60 perhaps for this one. But the appeal of this model is in the history of it. It comes from East Germany, and it's great that it's survived this long, and I'm hoping it will survive many years to come. So I think this is a great model, definitely one to add to a collection if you're into vintage models, especially from East Germany. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments below, I'd love to know your thoughts. And if you liked this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, it really helps this channel. I'll put one of the driving cars onto the turntable so you can see all the way around. Thanks once again for watching, I really enjoy sharing my passion for model railways with you on this channel. So hopefully I'll see you on my next video.
So model trains, model worlds, choo-choo, model trains, tiny worlds, choo-choo, model trains, model worlds, choo-choo, model trains, tiny worlds, choo-choo.